You gotta fight for your right to party. That's right. The Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl, and the Maple Leafs sweep the Jets. Air traffic control. Hey, Jesse. The Jets got grounded, boy. And so did the Ravens. Everything that flies stayed on the ground. Let's go, Leafs. Let's go, Chiefs. Boys, how's the weekend going?
So
Woo!
just for like full transparency, James just said he just drank a coffee, and I can totally tell.
Slammed it. By the way, should we say slammed it?
Yeah.
Absolutely
Nice.
great. Well, Dilly, how's it going, man?
I'm doing a lot better this week. I actually worked overtime Saturday, but it was I got off work early enough so I could catch the Leafs game. So I was happy about that.
It's always a beautiful thing. Clark Monroe, how's everything going on your side of the screen?
Good. It was a busy week, but I got to catch both the games, and it was good. There's a big winter festival here in Regina this weekend. Got to go with the kids. Always a good time, and I was cheering for the Ravens. So I didn't have a whole lot. I didn't have a whole lot at stake. I wasn't like I'm not a diehard Ravens fan or anything, but anyways, it's been a good week and a couple big wins for the fellas. So it just cherry on top.
It's definitely a cherry on top. Well, let's talk about that week that was for the Toronto Maple Leafs. 2 games against the Jets. No one gave them a snowball's chance in hell to win these games. Everybody's saying, this is going to be the problem. This will be the Achilles heel. Everything that came to be an issue wasn't an issue for the Maple Leafs. In that first game, it's a 1-0 overtime win, but Sammy was supposed to be the problem. No, he was the one who solved all the problems, the giveaways, the bad plays, all those things, the 10-bell saves. Come on, chef's kiss. Samsonov is back, baby. I love it. We'll talk about him a little later. But then the second game, we're going to talk about goaltender interference at the end of this show, but that was wild what happened there. But the Leafs, at the end of that period, with a guy named Ryan Reaves get on the board. What did you guys take away from those 2 games? For me, it looked like the Leafs may have found stride here heading into an 8-game break where some players definitely need it.
I think somebody got the monkey off their back after 30 shots on goal. And people were calling for his salary. Johnny T got a goal. It was a nice tipper, nice shot by Morgan. And Revo got injected into the lineup, and he brought the juice. He was snarling at the stars of the Winnipeg Jets. He brought everything that he needed to. He scored a goal that was, again, a great tip. And, Sammy showed up this week. When all the doubters put him in the garbage, he came out and said, well, I'm no Oscar Grouch, but I'll make sure to save a puck or 2.
He sesame that street, that's for sure. What are you saying, Clarky? How you feeling about the Leafs week? What are your takeaways here with those 2 games?
Yeah, I think last weekend, James, I wasn't super confident in this one, in these couple of games. I don't remember if I said they were going to lose both, but I definitely didn't say they were going to win both. You did.
I said they were going to lose both.
Yeah.
You said 1-1. I said 1-1.
1-1. Right. There we go. So I thought they might do okay, and I was really, really pumped with how both games went. Like you said, Samsonov, for the first time in a long time for me, I'm not going to say that, there's a lot of people saying he's all the way back or, Sammy's all the way. I'm not going to say that, but there was a different sense of confidence and maybe calm that I had as a viewer, as a fan, just watching the games than I've had any time this season for sure that he's been in net. And it just, I got the sense that he was back to his ways of, his net positioning was sharp. That was the thing that I've noticed a lot this year. Earlier than the year when he was, when we were all nervous about him, he was all over the place. He was sliding too much. He was moving too much. He was out of position. And he looked back in place these last couple of games, which I think is basically the key for him. Is just stay in there, stay in place and trust your abilities. And he's got the ability to do it. So we'll get into more of that a little bit later maybe, but definitely felt good about him. the one thing that has really been on my mind this past week or so has been the secondary scoring. And we've seen and talked about some of the guys, and to see not just Reaves get a goal in his first game back, which was great, but Benoit got that empty
Benny
net,
beat the Jets.
awesome. You gotta love
what
that.
A line.
You gotta love that, and just to see some of the other guys chip it in here and there, I think was really good to see. John Tavares, you could tell that weight come off his shoulder. He had not just a monkey on his back, he had the Planet of the Apes on his back, I think. So he felt pretty good. He felt pretty good scoring that goal. But yeah, a great couple of games against a very good team. Yes, they were missing Scheifele, and Morrissey was out for a little bit of that first game, and whoever else the Jets don't maybe have. But you still got to beat the teams that are ahead of you, and the Jets are still a very good team, even without those guys. So to beat them twice, I think has to have the room just buzzing right now, and looking forward to, well, I guess the All-Star break, but when they get back, and maybe it's now time. Maybe that's a bit of a statement to Mr. Tree living upstairs to say, hey, we are the team. Let's do this. Give us a move. Let's make this happen.
Yeah, definitely a move should be made for this squad, obviously, on the back end. But we've talked about that ad nauseum here, moving guys in their correct positions. For me, I'll touch on Sammy just for a second because we will talk about him later. One thing I've super noticed about him in these past few games is his actual vision towards the puck. So it's looking, actively searching. You look at Jonathan Quick, and I'm not saying the Leafs are going on a cup run, so everybody calm down. I'm just saying when Quick was at his absolute best, he was tracking the puck well. He was looking around reads. He was trying to do everything he could to see where that puck was coming from. And Samsonov is doing a bit of that. And we had our buddy Kevin Woodley on talking about how and what Samsonov needed to do and the things that were hindering his game from taking the next step. And a lot of it was between the ears and even using his ears to what was being told to him. So maybe he's buying in. I said it on my live the other night. Maybe he's buying into some of the things he's being told, and it never hurts. Dylan, you spoke about it before we jumped on. Talking to someone you trust. Well, talk to his father, talk to his wife, talk to the different coaches in the Leafs staff, and really got himself reset. So I'm hoping he's back, but we'll touch on more on Sammy in a bit. So we come into the All-Star break. The Leafs are in a wild card spot, which I'm not hating, by the way. We'd play the Philadelphia Flyers right now, which is not too shabby. Somebody different that maybe we could, have our way with if you wanted to, if the Leafs were healthy and built right.
I like that word.
Just saying.
And build a new rivalry.
Well, it is. It would rectify an issue for me that came up when I was in high school, and Jeremy Roenick coming down the wing and putting the Leafs out in the playoffs, ending the Pat Quinn era, sort of speak. So I would like that to be
just date you a little bit, right?
What's that?
I said just date you a little bit.
It doesn't matter. Everybody
I don't think about that all the time. No, screw that. No, not at all.
Hey, I don't even remember that. So there you go.
Yeah.
You were just a twinkle in someone's eye, sir.
Yeah, probably.
Listen, all right. We're going into the All-Star break. The Leafs are in the wild card spot. Not too bad. I talked about it a second ago. This may benefit the Leafs here, this 8 games. Giordano's looked very slow, tired. 8 games, never a bad thing. Ryan Reaves just came in with all the jump of a 20-volt battery that just got recharged. So maybe some time off will allow him to roll into the next game. Also, we got an injury to Calle Yarncroke. He's week to week. Great. What a great time to have 8 days off, and be able to kind of heal up and just relax and rest. JT looking slow. What does he need? Rest. Cool. Here's 8 days off. TJ Brody, 8 days off. We should see a refreshed and rejuvenated Leafs group at the end of this All-Star break. I think on Monday when we come back, this team should have a little bit more pep in their step. And obviously the city of Toronto is going to be rocking with all the stars there. Maybe a little rub happens while they're there and someone ends up wanting to come here at trade deadline time. Who knows? But it's a good way to wheel and deal, and we all know the boys get talking. So who would you want to see realistically come to Toronto at the trade deadline?
If
one quick name.
No, it wouldn't happen. I was thinking of an all-star, but
Sidney Crosby.
Hey, man.
Kyle Dubas wants to make amends with his Toronto friends, and Sidney Crosby for Bobby McMahon, straight up.
Oh,
man, retains 50%.
Pittsburgh's got to throw in at least a bag of pucks on that one, man. Come on now.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe, you know what? They could throw in Jake Gensel, too, while they're at it.
Well, Jesus.
No,
Mike did it done, but Bobby McMahon is something, man.
Oh, he's great. I haven't done, like, my normal, and whoever, if you guys have watched Offside, and I've been on it, if you've followed me on TikTok over the years, you know I love myself some trade talk. I love a good rumor. I love a good rabbit hole where you look at this guy or you look at trade history and this guy likes trading with this team. Maybe it's this guy. I haven't done that fully yet. I haven't fully dove in, but there are some names that I really like. And one name that I kind of thought about this past week was Adam Henrique from the Anaheim Ducks. And this guy has had some playoff runs in the past. The Ducks are going nowhere fast. He's a UFA. And I think now, again, everyone's going to be like, well, he's a forward. Don't they need defense? Yeah. But one of the things that we've definitely seen is the secondary scoring is a little rough. And I think Adam Henrique, and if you guys saw my rant last week about the penalty kill and Mitch Marner, Adam Henrique can come in and
ring the bell.
He can be a centerman on the penalty kill. He can take some time away from Mitch Marner in that regard. He can be that third line center that Ryan O'Reilly kind of was last year. I'm not calling him a Ryan O'Reilly clone. Relax. But he's done it. He's been there, and he can play every position. He can pretty much play any role. I mean, right now he's playing top 6 in Anaheim, so he's not going to play top 6 in Toronto. He'll play third line probably, especially with Yarncroke out. If they were to get him kind of earlier, he could really fill that spot. It allows Domi to go back to the wing, which would be another benefit because Henrique, I would assume, would be the third line center. You'd probably put him with Domi and Yarncroke when he's back on that third line. And I don't know what the trade would be, but he is a UFA. He's in his mid-30s. He is kind of expensive, so in terms of his contract, so there would have to be some maneuvering there. But I really feel like that's a nice fit. I think he kind of fills the couple of needs for the team, and maybe you package him. I said it in the group chat, I think, but maybe you package a guy like Radko Gudas with that, or somebody else from Anaheim. They have a couple other guys that maybe you could get a little package. Do all your shopping in one place, as we've heard in the past.
Yeah,
we've had a history with the Ducks as well.
Yeah, well, yeah. The thing is that yes, Dylan, we have the Leafs have, but
I know it's not the same people.
Tree Living's also in place now, and I don't know about his history with. And Pat Verbeek is a brand new GM there.
100%. No, I'm just saying.
So the history there kind of almost doesn't matter. But hey, look, it's Jesse Pierce. What's up, JP? We don't want John Merrill. Sorry.
And a new traffic cone.
Yeah, we don't want John Merrill. He's a great guy. I'm sure he's a great guy.
Great locker room guy.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. If you want to throw Matt Boldy our way, or if you want to throw other guys, I'd be great. Philip Gustafson, Marc-Andre Fleury. But John Merrill, he's good. He's got a home there. I wouldn't want to disrupt his life.
No. We've already taken one too many of the Minnesota defensemen that have problems on our team. So I'll say this. Look at this. And I want to do a quick
Klingberg by name.
Yeah. I want to do a quick shout out. Our friends over at the Bar Down Beauties podcast. Go check them out. They're absolutely awesome. Putting in the hard work all the time. Always down by the Minnesota rink. But for me, I look at it like this and say, what you need to do is you pull up for the past 2 seasons, 3 seasons, 4 seasons, whatever you want to do. You look at the list and you say, all right, who's the best penalty killers in the National Hockey League? Who's always on the ice for the least goals against on the penalty kill? And it's coming up. The name that just came up is Adam Henrique. Blake Coleman is another one from the Calgary Flames. So if you're looking for something to add to this team, you go and look for penalty killers that can fill a role that you so desperately need. So you grab that list, Brad Treliving, and you look over it and you say, all right, this guy's my buddy, this guy's not. Hey, Calgary hates my guts, but maybe we can get him for a higher price and just pay it and get the damn penalty killers on the Leafs because that's what they need.
Yeah. One other name too, James, and I can't remember if I mentioned this name in the past. And again, it kind of depends on what Seattle wants to do in the next little bit here. But Adam Larson is a guy that I think would be a really nice fit. A right shot guy, of course. Obviously, that's always kind of a buzzword with the right shot stuff on defense. But I really do think he would be that kind of defensive guy who can maybe alleviate some of that pressure from TJ Brody. How much have we talked about that? You put Adam Larson up with Morgan Riley. I think that would be a nice top pair. I'm not saying Adam Larson is Victor Hedman, but I am saying that Adam Larson, I think, would be a decent fit, kind of fill what they would want in that role. And it would allow everybody to just kind of play their own roles a little bit better, or the roles that they should be playing. Again, TJ Brody maybe moves down in the lineup. I think that benefits everybody, and it makes TJ Brody a better player. And Adam Larson, yeah, he's a shot blocker. James, you know this. He's a minute munching, shot blocking, all the buzzwords.
Net front clearing son of a gun.
Yeah. I mean, again, he's not a world beater, but I think he's a good enough defenseman who you said realistic. Again, we're not talking about getting, a guy like Victor Hedman here. We're talking about Adam Larson on a Seattle team that is kind of in, I'm going to say flux. I'm not going to say they're rebuilding, but they're also, where are they? So kind of similar to where Calgary is, in my opinion. But that's kind of another name. If you could pluck him out of Seattle, I think that might be a decent fit.
I think we've been linked to this guy for a while, but Matt Dumba, he's a right-handed shot. He knows his minutes. He's played well in Arizona. He is week to week right now. I just found out. I was doing my due diligence, but he's somebody that took a risk in Arizona, and he's done his job.
Hey, listen, that's a name that you can definitely probably go after and get him for relatively cheaper than you probably would in years past out of Arizona, where he's on the 1-year deal. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, that's another good name. But yeah, stick to that script, Brad Treliving. Find yourself some penalty killers and build yourself a better PK unit, because that is something that's hindering the Leafs a whole lot. Let's swing into the GBU before we talk about our friends over at DraftKings. The good for this week, man, the good is the feel-good stories. Benoit scores. JT getting the monkey off his back. Ryan Reaves comes in and looks like the shit disturber he's supposed to be. And, of course, Ilya Samsonov putting a smile on Sammy's face. And I love what Matthews did. Captain material, making sure that belt stayed on Sammy's shoulder when he tried to give it up. Yeah. So I like that. Those are my goods for the week. What are yours?
I mean, you covered all of them. Poppy getting 40 before the All-Star break, and potting his 600th point, being the fastest Leaf in history.
Clarky, what's your good, man?
I'm going to go – I could go a couple different directions on this. I mean, you kind of did say a couple of the bigger ones. Obviously, love seeing Ryan Reaves. And one thing that I think we have Reaves debate next, so I'm gonna hold off on maybe diving into Ryan Reaves at the moment, but definitely like to see him doing his thing. So I'll say that for an honorable mention. But one thing I'm gonna say is just JT, John Tavares, getting that goal is good, and the reason I say that is because, like I said, I think he was carrying a lot of weight, and that's something that with him, you can tell the passion is there. And I think if he was starting to feel a little bit more of the heat than he is normally used to feeling, I think that was really affecting him. So to get that goal in a big moment, I think that was a huge one for him. And I think it's going to go a long way for him going into this All-Star break on a high. You know what? Everybody on the team going into this All-Star break on a high, I think that's maybe the best part of it, is you beat Winnipeg twice. Like I said, maybe they're not at full strength, but it's still Winnipeg. They're still at the top of the league right now, and you just beat them twice, once in their home on a Saturday night. So you got to feel good about that going into the All-Star break. It gives the All-Star guys a little bit more bragging rights for the week. They don't have to go into this week feeling like crap, and it gives everybody else a chance to go home on a good mood, or go to freaking Mexico or wherever they're going. Feeling good on a high, and you come back refreshed on a good note, in a happy mood when you come back. And I'm sure Sheldon Keefe also isn't upset about the back-to-back wins going into the break as well.
No, definitely, I don't think so. The bad for this week, the bad for me, guys, it's simple, it's quick, it's easy. It's the fact the Leafs are kind of rolling right now, and they have to take a break. Yep. I said it's good for some of the guys, but when you're starting to heat up, or even starting to get on a roll, they've won 3 in a row. You want to keep that feeling going. You want to keep the mo going, but you got 8 days off. So the bad is we have to stop the train but hopefully with some rest and rejuvenation and relaxation and whatever you want to say, because I can't speak words because I've been up too long. Hey, at least I hope the Leafs can bring it back. But the bad is we have to stop watching the streak right now and focus on the All-Star festivities.
All-Star festivities.
I'm not excited about the All-Star festivities. No? I want the regular season to get back.
Draft will be fun.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah,
that'll be fun. There'll be some fun moments. There always is, but it's
just... Hey, it's my holidays. I took days off for this. It's exciting, okay?
That's great.
What is okay? So, what is your guys' bad for the week, Clark? You go with you.
My bad. I'm gonna go with Martin Jones. Didn't make a single save this week. I can't believe it. Didn't make a single save.
Man.
Just brutal performance.
No lies were told.
No. You know what? I'm gonna save. I was gonna say one thing, but I'm gonna save it for the ugly. And I think James, you'll know kind of where I'm going maybe with this when we get there. But I'm gonna say my bad is Mark Giordano. I think this guy needs. It's come to the light a little bit more in the past little while that this guy needs some load management. You guys have both talked about it. I don't need to tell you about it. But I think this is kind of just more emphasizing the need for the Leafs to add a guy like Adam Larsson, like I just kind of said, like a guy who can really, really push some guys down in the order. And that means that Mark Giordano maybe becomes the 6.5 defenseman, not the 7, but he's the 6.5, and he's flipping in and out with whoever it happens to be. Because if you add a guy at the top or in the middle, that's going to give you, I'm just going to use Larsson's name for an example, Riley Larson. You got McCabe and Liljegren, who haven't been too bad together. And then you see Brody go down to the third pair. Brody Giordano, I don't know why they haven't played together more. Like,
that is a great question.
We've talked about this like right when they got.
They can just eat minutes on that last pair too.
Yeah, but the fact that they played together for so long in Calgary and then they've like literally not played together at all since they've been in Toronto. I just find that really odd. But you get them back together. You get Benoit down there. You get a couple other guys flipping in and out. And I think that is the ultimate path to success. And I think, again, Mark Giordano, get him in every single game in the playoffs, but let's give this guy some games off. So my bad, and it's not that bad, but it's just Mark Giordano over the last little while. I'm not even going to say he did anything necessarily poor in the Winnipeg games. Just in the last little while, it's starting to creep its ugly head a little bit more. And
yep,
we'll see where it goes after the All-Star break.
I don't know if this is bad or ugly. It might be a little bit of both. But I kind of thought that the penalties that we took were a little too much this week. Although that Winnipeg has a poor power play, I think that if this was another top team, that we would have been ran the hell over. And I don't mean that lightly, but like their percentage on the power play is crap. If it was Colorado, if it was Boston, I think we would have lost these games. So for me, that's my bad this week.
Well, Colorado, when they put those guys on the ice, they're in a different league altogether. Don't you remember?
Yep, Sheldon Keefe called it, man. They're not even NHLers, man.
They're aliens.
Yeah, extraterrestrials. We'll swing to the ugly. The ugly for this week for me is really just nothing. I have nothing. I don't have any ugly. It's hard to be ugly this week. Rod said that I was a little upset, cranky after a Leafs win. But at the same time, I was only pointing out the fact that if a team wants to be great, they have to focus on every detail, and the power play was the problem. If you want to call that ugly, I guess we'll call the power play ugly. 0 for 5. They scored on Saturday, but I'm saying when you're 0 for 21 going in to Saturday's game, that's a bit ugly. That's an ugly number. Yep. So you want to get that rolling. I'm still of the belief that you guys – we need to break up the power play units.
Yep.
They need to figure something new out. Teams are getting it. And guess what? You can go back to this option once you've had enough time away from it and run it back out there. These guys don't forget how to play with each other. They know what they're doing. Yeah, smile and smirk there, Clarky. But these guys know what they're doing. So break up those units. Make it better. Make it more guessing work for the opposing teams. And also give some guys some cookies, man. Help spread it around. Get some Domies, some Berts, some Robertsons out there with some of the big boys and see if they can deliver and what you can find. Maybe put Nyes on PP1 and park his big ass in front of the net. See what he can do with a stick battle or two.
Yes, please.
Those things right there. That's my ugly. Not even really ugly.
Yeah, it could boost somebody's confidence. I think you're right. For sure. It takes one to be potted in the back of the net and they can go on a roll.
That's it. Clarky, what's your ugly?
So I'm going to go with the goaltender interference.
Yeah, nice.
Now, obviously everybody saw the comparison of the Oilers clip where it was a goal and the Leafs clip where it wasn't a goal. Very stark differences between the two. And one I feel like shouldn't have been, or if it wasn't, that's great. But that should mean that the Nylander one and / Bertuzzi was a goal. And here's my biggest argument with that. And I know it's been said because people are talking about this. This is a hot topic. But when Nylander came across the crease, I feel like he wasn't in the crease necessarily. He was very much at the top, and he wasn't making contact with Connor Hellebuck.
Nope.
Dylan DeMello pushes him into Connor Hellebuck, and it wasn't even that severe. I feel like it was. Yes, it happened. They bumped, and it caused Hellebuck to change his path or whatever he was doing. Yep. But Nylander immediately got back out of the crease as soon as he possibly could. The play continued for about a second, and then Bertuzzi scored. Hellebuck had a chance to move. He had a chance to react to where the puck was going. The puck changed directions very fast. Yep. It came to Bertuzzi on the other side, but Hellebuck was reacting to the puck, and Nylander, when the goal was scored, was outside of the crease, not touching anybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
And to me, I just don't understand how not only when you review it in the first place, but after the challenge, you don't see that DeMello did the push. Nylander was not trying to make contact.
Twice.
And he immediately got out of the crease in order to not make contact. And to me, that's something that, it's not a secret that needs to be reviewed and standardized and figured out, because it's just ridiculous that you can have a goal like what happened in Edmonton where the goalie literally got bowled over. The guy was in the net basically when the goal was scored. And it was like bang, bang when that happened. But Nylander gets out of the way as soon as he possibly can after getting pushed by the defenseman, and that doesn't count. So definitely need to be something that this league figures out. And yes, you know what? In the moment, the referees can absolutely make that call if that's goaltender interference, because that is a hard call to make in the moment when things are flying around and there's 4 guys in front of the net and things are happening and moving and whatever. But after a review, you got to make the right call on that.
Yep.
And there's no chance that was goaltender interference. That can't be it. I get where the argument is from the Winnipeg fan base and some other people who are calling it out. But by the rule and the way that it should be called, there's no way league-wide that should not be a goal. That should be a goal every day of the week. For any team, any situation, that should be. So that's my ugly.
At least we know that the Toronto video review people are not on our side.
Well, hold on now. Let's hold the phone there for a second, because that call right there, Dave Jackson will correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe I brought this up to him before. That call ultimately stays in the ref's hand.
Oh,
it
really?
is the ref's discretion to say goal or no goal after they review it.
That's good to know.
So that is completely, it could be 100 different viewpoints on it from every different referee in the league. So that's why it's not cut and dry what goaltender interference is.
So they didn't go to Toronto.
Everyone has their own interpretation of what it is and what they feel deems it to be goaltender interference. So that is the problem.
So
that's why it's not standardized, because it's ref's interpretation.
So it's clear as mud.
Basically, It's clear as mud thrown in your face. So that's why I said in my ranting video, what you need to do is have a clear-cut, black and white definition of what it is and leave it out of the ref's hands. Yep. So if this happens, this happens, this happens, you check the boxes and say no goal. All of these things line up. This happened, but this didn't happen, but he got pushed in. Well, that doesn't line up. Good goal. Simple. It's an easy fix. You just standardize the rule and make it a black and white, cut across the board. This is what it is. Why don't you do that? Instead, you have every ref saying, well, this is the way that I view it. And refs don't have to answer questions after games. So therefore they can just my interpretation, and that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I just don't see how you interpret that rule the way that it is written as the way Nylander reacted to that. It's not like he even fell into the goalie and that caused the goal to happen. He got out of the way. He got out of the crease. He was standing outside of the paint at like 80% of the time during that play. And the only time he wasn't was DeMello pushed him. He fell in, got immediately out. And it's just like, come on. Like, it's not even egregious. To me, that's just ridiculous.
It's kooky,
but
dude.
You know what? Best part about it, they still won the game.
Well, at that point, it was contentious.
It was a big moment.
It was 2-1 goal.
Yeah.
Dylan, what's your ugly? By the way, we're pretty much taking care of what is goaltender interference, so we won't go to that topic at the end here. That is taken off the sandwich board right there. Okay, we just ate that lunch menu already.
Dylan, I don't really have any ugly this week. I think just the power play needs to get clicking, like you said, and stay the hell out of the penalty box against good teams. Even though Winnipeg wasn't a good team on the power play, I think it's crucial when we're facing teams like that because it could be detrimental.
All right, well, there's your GBU. And speaking of another good, bad, and the ugly, whoever you root for in a Super Bowl coming up very soon, our friends are looking for a super offer for Super Bowl 58. DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. New customers can bet on the big game and turn $5 into $200 instantly in bonus bets. Myself will be chucking some money over on the old Kansas City Chiefs to get themselves another Super Bowl. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook.
Go 49ers.
And use the code THPN. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the Super Bowl 58. Use the code THPN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for your problem gambling. Call 888-87-89777 or visit ccp.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bet set to expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restriction terms and responsible gambling resources. So get your bets over there. To the 49ers. Clark, get out of here.
James, I missed that.
Can
you repeat again the phone numbers?
We're good.
No, we're
never bet on your own team.
No,
never bet on your own.
Will say the reason I'm cheering for the 49ers now is because I've been to a 49ers game. It was way back in 2009 or 10. I can't remember what month it was in the season. But it was
you were at school down there, right?
Down in California. I was there. So we went to a 49ers game at their old stadium. It was a dump, but it was really cool. Yeah. And it was Alex Smith for the 49ers against Kurt Warner and the Arizona Cardinals. Very cool game to be at. I can't remember. I think it was just a regular old Sunday game. It wasn't Monday Night Football or anything, but really cool game to be at. So go Niners.
All right, buddy. Well, we'll have a little bit of a rivalry going on. Matt Marchese and me have been talking back and forth, too, about the fact that he said that the Chiefs would have nothing down the stretch but Pacheco. And, of course, they've had a lot more weapons than just that, obviously. So, some guys coming on.
My number one wish for it is that they both wear their red jerseys.
Yeah, we know that's not going to happen, but I love it.
Just a field of red jerseys running around. Nobody knows who's who.
Just pure and utter chaos.
Yeah. My wish is for Taylor Swift against Eminem. Oh no, it's not Eminem.
It's over now.
It's over. That Detroit blew it 21-7 reasons.
It's over.
Someone who didn't blow it though was a guy who got back in the lineup for the Maple Leafs, and that was Ryan Reaves.
He did.
Got in the lineup, throwing some hits, tips a puck in, mixes it up with Ehlers towards the end of the game. I know it's the end of the game, but still, Winnipeg was trying to press. So he's taking a guy who's one of their key offensive weapons and scrumming it up with him. Some people were calling him a goon for it. Guess what the Leafs have been lacking? A goon. A guy who does that stuff, who gets under people's skin, laughs at you, waves bye-bye, and blows kisses as he's leaving the ice. I love those things, and that's what we all were excited for on game 1 when Ryan Reaves did the old pump like that. We were like, this is going to be a wicked season because he's going to do fun things like that. 3 games later, he really wasn't doing that anymore, but it seemed like maybe he's learned or thought through what he's going to do in games, because throwing those hits, disrupting the cycle, which I said he did do very much well in the defensive zone, in the offensive zone, both ways. He was either creating or stopping the cycle by throwing body checks, and I love that. But even getting back, even though he looked like the Curtis Gabriel macho man skater, he was still hustling as hard as he could to get back into play. So I loved everything he brought. The effort level was 110%. And if we can get that Revo, even if you're putting him in every 1 to 5 games or whatever, cool, because they could use that against teams like Winnipeg, teams that have a little snarl. And if you can throw other key guys off their game, I'm all for it, man. The Reaves debate, though, is people want this guy gone because obviously what he did on Saturday night is not something he usually does for the Leafs so far. But if he can be that player, guys, would you not want him in your lineup 100%. In games that matter where there's a little bit of bite from the other team? Logan Stanley could have very well been in these games, and that's a guy you'd want to see Ryan Reaves go up against.
Now,
but he's mixing it up with Morrissey. He's mixing it up with Ehlers. Yeah. I'm liking what I'm seeing, man. Adam Lowry, yeah.
Adam Lowry's not afraid to chuck him, but I think he's captain now. He wouldn't throw him as much.
So what do you say, Dylan? What side of the debate are you on? If you can get this version of Reaves, do you keep him around?
I would keep him around. You need this snot in the lineup, as Tree Living would say. I love that energy. It distracts everybody else from something else in the game. Like, the boys don't have to worry about anything. He can handle all the stupid BS in front of the net, in front of their net. And yeah, I love this type of hockey. Like I said, guys like even Domi, he's a bulldog, but I love it. He hounds the puck. He's somebody that's not afraid to scrap, but he doesn't always need to do it. Somebody like Revo brings intimidation, and he just laughs in people's face. It brings me enjoyment, honestly. You love to have him on your team, but you hate when he's against your team. I've always hated him on any other team, so I'm glad he's a Leaf.
Clarky, what do you say?
Yeah, and I mean, I think the big the sentiment, I guess, or like the narrative that people want him gone is, I think, based on some of the games he was playing where he wasn't doing any of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And we talked about this when that was happening before his injury. We talked about, what is he doing out there? He was brought in to be what he was on Saturday night. Yeah. He doesn't have to score a goal. He doesn't have to score. But if he's out there and doing what he did against Ehlers, taking a top 6 guy out of his mindset in terms of what he needs to do out there. And at the end of the game, he was the one on the ice in the last minute. Keefe put him out there in the last minute to just, hey, go be bad cop. Go be bad cop. And there are no other bad cops. And you saw when that goal was scored and McCabe kind of jumped into it. It was who would it have been that McCabe jumped after?
It was Appleton, I think.
Appleton was the guy who came after McCabe, and Reaves wanted to get to Appleton. And the best part about it was McCabe got to Appleton first, and Reaves was like, "Oh shoot, now where do I go?" And Morrissey was just there, and he just went over and started giving him little love taps in the chin. That's great. Do that more often, please. Like, we need more guys like that. And you know what that does is that Josh Morrissey, next time the Leafs play the Jets, which I don't think they play again this season.
No, until the final.
Maybe the final. But you know that he's going to be talking to Morrissey. He's going to be doing that stuff. He's going to be talking to Ehlers. And the best part about it was, McCabe got all the attention on Appleton. They actually legitimately kind of went at it. And Reaves was the one that got booted. Yeah. He wasn't even he was barely involved, and he was the one that got booted. I don't even know if McCabe got a penalty at the end of that.
No, he bounced on him.
Yeah. Because, and I don't know why I thumbs up. If I do this, do thumbs ups pop up? I'm not sure. Is somebody giving me a poke? Am I getting a poke of confidence? But anyways, it just the fact that he's the one that got the attention and left Jake McCabe out of it, I think that's fantastic. And that's what he's here for. So yes, I think Reaves has a spot on this team. James, I think you kind of nailed it. Maybe against the faster teams, you put in Bobby McMahon or whoever.
Yep.
But if you got a bigger team coming in, or you want to maybe have that angle that you have, that Sheldon Keefe is trust. And here's the other part that I really liked, and this was a very small moment, but I really, really liked this moment, is when the Leafs got a penalty that somebody had to serve. What was it? Was it too many men? I can't even remember. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
It was something. I forget what it was, but yeah, he served it.
Yeah, so the moment was they showed the bench, and Reaves was standing right with Keefe. They were right beside each other talking about something. Reaves turns around, looks at Keefe. Keefe gives him a nod. He goes and serves the penalty. He knows his role in this team, and I think that's a very important thing for Sheldon Keefe to be able to lean on. And it's very small. Like I said, this isn't a big thing. This is a small thing. And I think if Sheldon Keefe can have a little bit of confidence in a guy like that to kind of just do whatever he says, I think that's something that Keefe hasn't really had. And I think that he likes having that available to him. So I think Sheldon Keefe likes him out there. I know there was a little bit of perceived riff with Ryan Reaves on the IR, like, hey, I've been healthy. I don't know what I'm doing up scratches. I don't know what's going on. I know that was kind of a perceived thing that people kind of took and ran with. But I really do think that him and Sheldon Keefe have a really good rapport. And I think that Keefe likes him on the bench. He likes him out there. He likes doing his thing. And one last thing before I end this. He didn't do anything to Nikolai Ehlers. Ehlers started that thing. Ehlers pushed it. He pushed the Reaves buttons. Reaves was just like, I think
you want to do this.
I think Ehlers looked at Reaves, and Reaves was like, did you realize it was me? Because I don't know if you knew it was me. Because are you sure? Are you sure? And then he kind of gave him a couple of pushes. Are you sure? And then
he's like, no.
You saw when Reaves skated away, he kind of smacked him on the butt and said, like, yeah, I know you wouldn't have ever done this. I'm just bugging you. I'm just bugging you. And I think that's just a really cool thing. Again, I don't think that was a bad thing at all. I think that's great. If you can get Ryan Reaves out there bugging the top 6 forwards for the other team, or anybody, Josh Morrissey, if you can get him out there taking them a little bit off their game, that's where he becomes an important guy. And yes, I think he has a very important place on this team. It might not be an everyday thing. It might be 8 minutes or less a night, but I think it's a very important role. He just needs to play like he did on Saturday night. And if he can do that, that's a valuable guy. I don't care what his contract says or what people say. I think that's a valuable guy myself.
Yeah, I think what's important is what he said in the off season is what he did Saturday. He was like, I'm here to go at the top 6 guys and make sure that I'm a pest out on the ice. And I think if he continues to do this, I don't have a problem with him in the lineup every 5 games, every so often, whenever he's needed. And I think you're right by saying Keefe does have confidence when he's around.
Yeah, it adds something to Keefe's mindset for sure.
Yeah, it makes everybody feel 2 inches taller. Well, the last thing we'll talk about mindset is the Samsonov mindset. And is he back? Between the years, on the ice and everything. I've been telling everyone, take it a game at a time. Let him use him each game as a building block for his success, to make him better, to make him feel better between the pipes. But every Big Ten bell save, every victory, every whatever it is during a game that happens, it means something big to him. He talked about the tears when the Scotiabank crowd was cheering him on and chanting his name, and how that felt and how he liked the way that felt and remembered how it felt last year. So for me, I would say he's not back yet because we're not out of the woods.
Yeah.
It's a nice small sample size here. He's looking good. His reads are good. His movement is good, like you said, Clark. He's tracking well. He's doing what he needs to do. But the thing is, that needs to be consistent. But what we need to see is what happens when Sammy gets shelled or when Sammy gets rocked by 2 goals quickly. Yeah. Something happens. How is his composure? Does he battle back? Or if he's the Leafs are up by 3 and a team ties it, what's his mentality there? Because last year when that happened, he would shut the door and allow the Leafs to continue to build and go on and win the game. So those are things that we need to see to say, hey, this complete picture is back together. And this guy is kind of rebuilt and ready to keep going as the sonar tracking machine. And then, of course, the brick wall when he comes back as well. It'll be a great tandem. And Mr. Jones and the Leafs will be waiting in the wings. But what say you guys about sonar? We'll wrap this up quick.
I think what's important for Sammy is to make sure that those little things don't get inside of his head. I truly believe that confidence is the number one thing for a goaltender. And I don't know if he has this mental strength, but you talk about John Cooper and Vasilevsky's relationship, and Vasilevsky, if he's getting shoved, he's like, no, keep me in this. And I think Sammy needs that kind of mentality to be like, I'm going to stay in here and go through hell to make sure that I am mentally prepared for anything to come my way. And as for when Woll comes back, I really want to see where their relationship kind of falls. I know that when Murray was here with Sammy last year, they had a fairly good relationship. And I look at Allmark and Swayman, and they have a great relationship. They want to see each other succeed. So I'm very curious at how Sammy's going to react if he's, on a good roll up until Woll comes back. If he's like, oh yeah, like I want to see Woll do good as well. So like I want to see how well their relationship plays throughout the year. And I want to see healthy competition in the net, because it only builds confidence from within each other and the team moving forward.
Yeah, I'll take that and run with it a little bit. I think if Sammy plays and can show that he can play and be confident like he did this past week, it's his net again. Love Joseph Woll. I think he's definitely going to take over next year. No question whatsoever there. But I do believe that if Samsonov can be that guy again, like he was last year, and can play like he did this week, it's his net. Joseph Woll's coming off an injury. He's only got 35 career games or something. Like, I understand that he has all the tools, and James, I know our guest last week, Kevin, right? He has a lot of praise, and I get it, and I see it as well. And next year, hope he plays 55 games. But I do believe that Samsonov got his contract in the offseason for a reason. He is still getting paid more money, which has a lot of it holds some weight in the NHL. It just does. And if he can play like he did and be as confident as he is, I think he's that guy. He has a bit of an X factor to him, and I think he can take the net and run with it. And I think that will be better for Joseph Woll in the long run, if I can just say that as well. If you get Joseph Woll, again, just kind of getting back into it, not rushing necessarily, and being able to play a few games here and there and just continue to learn. He's still very young. He's still very fresh. Yep. And next year, he's the guy. You tell him in the summer, Joe, you're our guy. And you're coming in as the number one. Prepare that way. And he will, because he has that mentality to him. I think he will be great. But I do think if Sammy can be this guy, he runs with the net, and it's him. I won't say that he's all the way back, like I said earlier in the show here. But there's a lot more confidence there. I felt it. I felt the difference. I could see the difference on the ice, on watching it from my house. I could see the difference out there. It felt different. He looked different. The team looked different around him. And yes, I will say that I think he is on his way back. But we got to see, like you said, James, I think it's really going to be key to see not just him getting a shutout with a 16-shot performance and him getting a really good performances in front of him for a couple games. Let's see what happens if there is maybe a bit of an adverse situation in a game. And remember last year, too, last thing I'll say on it, last year, when he had a bad game, he bounced back with a great game. This year, we haven't seen that. So, you know what? I kind of want to see, now I don't want to see them lose, but I want to see him have a bad game because I want to see if he can bounce back. That, to me, is going to be another big step because that was what he was last year. He bounced. I can't remember the stats, but his stats after a bad game were unbelievably good. If you can get a bad game and you see him bounce back, that means his head is at least in a better place than it was before. And to me, that's more important than just seeing him have a few good games in a row, which is also great. But I think we need to see a little adversity and watch him bounce back. And if he can do that, I'll believe it.
No, I'm 100% with it, like I just said, on the same topic. So, Sonar, keep playing well, buddy. We'll see you in about 8 days in Leafs Nation. Same thing for you. We'll see you probably after the All-Star break, because there's not going to be much to talk about this week, Leafs news-wise, with the All-Star game in town.
See you all on TikTok.
Before we break here, I want to send get well wishes, do well, feel better wishes to Patrick Laine, who entered the player assistance program today. Hoping he comes out on the other side fresh as a daisy and ready to go whenever that is. But I hope he gets the help he needs to see him through his darkest and demon time, I guess you want to call it. He did put out a statement over on Instagram. I encourage you to go listen and read it. But want to leave on that one there. If you need help, reach out, talk to somebody, get assistance. Don't hide. Don't keep it suppressed. And man, talk to a buddy. Talk to someone. Let someone know what's going on. And you know what is around here, guys. This right here, Offside Hockey Talk, where the Maple Leafs and hockey come to talk.